Try it, the fish.
1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. What's with these homies dissing my girl? Why do they got her front? What did we ever do to these guys that made them so violent? But you know I'm yours, and I know you're mine. I know just like Buddy Holly. Oh, and you're married Tyler Moore. I don't care what they say about us anyway. I don't care about that. Don't you ever fear, I'm always there. I know that you rebel. Your tongue is twisted, your eyes are slit. You need a guardian, and you know I'm yours, and I know you're mine. I know just like Buddy Holly. Oh, and you're married Tyler Moore. I don't care what they say about us anyway. I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
Stay tuned for more Happy Days.
It doesn't matter what I say, as long as I sing with inflection that makes you feel like some inner truth of that's reflection. But I've said nothing so far. And I can keep it up for as long as it takes. And it don't matter who you are. If I'm doing my job, it's your resolve that breaks. Because the hook brings you back. I ain't telling you no lie. The hook brings you back. On that you can rely. There is something amiss. I am being insincere. In fact, I don't mean any of this. Still, my confession draws you near to confuse the issue or refer.
Hope you guys are having a great Friday night tonight. We got a good show. 85 days until the first game kicks. It's going to be a good time.
How much Peter loved her. What made the pan refuse to grow was that the heart brings you back. I ain't telling you no lie. The heart brings you back. On that you can rely. This MTV is not for free. It's so PC is killing me. So desperately I'll sing the other love. Shut up and also raging, hating, pain, and fear itself. And I can't keep these feelings on the shelf. I've tried, well, no doubt I lied. Could be financial suicide, but I got too much pride inside to hide or slide. I'll do as I'll decide and let it ride until I die. And only then shall I abide this fight to catch it.
All right, so we got a poll in the chat here. We got two past winners, Uncle Lou and Carolina Jackpot, both winners of the show. Two newcomers, State of Atlanta is a Georgia State podcast. We got Group of Five representation tonight, and Knumbskull News. Yeah, whoever comes in third tonight will get a ring. We'll have a ring made for the third place contestant tonight.
I wrote her off for the 10th time today. Practiced all the things I would say. When she came over, I lost my nerve. I took her back and made her dessert. I know I'm being used. It's okay, man, 'cause I like the abuse. I know she's playing with me. That's okay, 'cause I got no self-esteem. Oh, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, we make plans, go out at night. I wait till 2, then I turn out the light. This rejection got me so low. She keeps it up, I just might tell her so. Oh, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, when she said all that she wants only me, then I wonder why she sleeps with my friends. When she said all that I'm like the disease, then I wonder how much more I can spend. Well, I guess I should seek out for myself, but I really think it's better this way. The more you suffer, the more it shows you really care. Right? Yeah. So I'll relate this little bit. It happens more than I'd like to admit. Late at night, she knocks on my door. She's drunk again and looking to score. Oh, I know I should say no, but it's kinda hard when she's ready to go. I may be dumb, I'm not a dweeb. I'm just a sucker with no self-esteem. Oh, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Baylor, man, I think We got a question about Baylor tonight. We're going to talk about your beginning game. Thank God for this show. There's like 50 fantastic week 1 games. God, I love college football. All right, since we got our boy from state of Atlanta in here, I think he likes Weezer. Let's go with another Weezer.
Oh yeah.
We didn't make rings for a mediocre season, did we? Oh yeah, we did.
Somebody's hiding, it's drowning my icebox. Somebody's cold one is giving me chills. Guess I'll just close my eyes. Oh yeah. Alright. Feels good inside. Flip on the telly, wrestle with Jimmy. Something is bubbling behind my back. The bottle is ready to blow.
Did we make those rings? Say it ain't so.
Talk is a heartbreaker. Say it ain't so. My love is a life taker.
Is that true? Is Ole Miss down in baseball right now? Wow.
I can't confront you,
I never could do.
that which might hurt you. So try and be cool. When I say this way is a water slide away from me that takes it further every day. So be cool. Say it ain't so. Your joke is a heartbreaker. Say it ain't so. My love is a life taker. Dear Daddy, I write you in spite of his silence. You cleaned up, found Jesus. Things are good. Also, I hear this bottle of Stevens awakens ancient feelings. Like father, stepfather, the sun is drowning in the blood. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, we're still waiting on one other panelist, but we'll get right into it soon. I promise you, we won't be the tease tonight.
Say it ain't so. Your joke is a heartbreaker. Say it ain't so. My love is a life taker.
All right, we'll start one more song here while we're waiting on one other person, but we're gonna get to it, I promise. Yeah, I figured Ballard would like some Skinner, spelt with all Y's, and from Jacksonville, Florida, not Alabama. But you know what? We've got everyone in here now. Let's cut this off, and it's probably just time to get into it, isn't it? Isn't that what it's time for? Let me pop everyone in here, and let's do the thing. Let me swap the screen around. I think we're good. All right, we got Jackpot rearranging his stuff. I didn't tell everyone we were hopping right into it. How are you guys doing? Welcome to College Football Weekly.
Good evening. Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for having us.
Good morning. It's going to be a good show. Before we get into it, our first question, we always start off with like a video and a question, is going to be what has made you maddest as a YouTuber, as a fan. And let's cut to a little rage moment here before we get into it. And I'm sorry, Jackpot. It's my favorite clip of all time. I could watch it 1,000 times.
No, you're a fucking idiot. Who are you, you fucking pineapple head dipshit?
Okay, you think it's funny, but nobody else does.
No, it's not fucking funny. If I could fucking find you, I'd beat you in the face with a Dr. Pepper can. Yeah, I'm real serious. Dr. Pepper Zero.
I don't think you deserved it though, Jackpot, but I love how specific you get when you get mad, and you can't fake real rage. I mean, I
had a can there on the table with me when I was cursing at him, so.
That you just saw that and said, I will
Yeah, it was just
assault
probably
him.
the first thing I saw. Yeah, if it had been a Sprite can, he would have got that. You know?
Well, if Dr. Pepper doesn't offer you a sponsorship, I mean, they're missing out gravely.
I would be a better sponsor than DJ Uyunglele.
There you go. So, question number one tonight: what has made you the maddest in college football as a YouTuber on a live stream, or if you don't do a lot of live streams, just in general? Like, if we were going to talk to Papa Rec, it would be Reggie Ball throwing it out of bounds when he had Calvin Johnson on the goal line against Georgia. He just kept saying, "Why? Why?" We'll go to Jackpot since we started with your clip. What's the maddest you've ever been as a college football fan or YouTuber?
Jeez, man.
I mean, you've had a lot.
That's quite a list.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a list. Okay, we'll just talk about since I've been on YouTube, since I've been doing streams and stuff. As far as a game, South Carolina 2022 game on the road at Florida, we lost 38-6. I think we had been ranked the week before and we lost to Missouri, so we lost that ranking. But I mean, I think we were favored by a couple of points, and I mean, they just put it on us, man, wore it out. We couldn't do anything. That one, I raged pretty hard on that one. I raged really hard in the 2021 and 2019. Although 2019, I don't think it was a live stream. I wasn't live streaming then. Games at Tennessee, both pretty embarrassing losses to mediocre teams. Those pissed me off pretty hard. 2023 and 2021 losses at home to Clemson. It was pretty steamed over those two. No offense in either game. So,
like the past 5 years,
the past couple of years, they've provided me a lot of
grief,
a lot of poor moments.
Yeah, I can certainly understand. Let's go to Lou. What's the maddest? And I know you've had some moments. What's the maddest you've been on YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky late. I mean, it's been a long time since I've really been able to get that mad.
Right.
Georgia's been pretty good, but Jackpot, how about the 2019 loss to South Carolina at home? Georgia's last home loss, a 24-point favorite. Jack Fromm, 4 turnovers. Hot Rod missed like 2 or 3 field goals. I mean, to get that guy was, I don't even hate Georgia, are you? Hot Rod was money. He's the best field goal kicker we've ever had. Missed field goals. So that made me mad. But probably the maddest I've ever been over an extended period of time was 2018 when Justin Fields was riding the bench and Jack Fromm was out there they're throwing incomplete passes and taking 3-yard sacks for no reason all year long. I mean, it wasn't a terrible year. I mean, hell, we almost beat Bama in the SEC championship game that year, but
You did.
Fromm was the worst player on that team. That Fromm got year was there. You got Justin Fields there riding the bench. I mean, LSU was really good in 2019. Bama was really good in 2020, but I really think Georgia could have won a natty in one of those 18, 19, or 20 with Justin Fields, but of course ran him off. That's probably the maddest I've ever been. The 3 or 4 month period where Fromm sucked and they wouldn't put. We played LSU on the road. I'm not kidding you. This guy, Jack Fromm, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I mean, that's probably the worst game he's ever played. Justin Fields is sitting over on the bench twiddling his fucking thumbs, and I'm like, okay, we have a bye week, and then we play Florida. This is a great time to put a new quarterback in. You got 2 weeks to teach him up, whatever you need to do, right? Of course, the Florida game comes around. Fields didn't play one damn snap in that game, and just so happened, Fromm had like the game of his life that day against Florida, and we beat him anyway. But
Just to spite you.
yeah, but he was undefeated against Florida for all his shortcomings. I mean, I know we own Florida lately, but I came up in college football during a period where you didn't even have to watch the Georgia-Florida game. The only question was how bad is Florida going to beat us? It wasn't if, so I'm thankful for the 3-0. But that and the Mark Richt thing, getting mad at the Georgia fans because, Mark Richt was a nice guy and believed in God. And so therefore he deserves to have a job permanently.
I remember the last significant thing that Justin Fields did at Georgia. The last time he was really ever on the field was like that SEC championship game in 2018 when they put him back. He hadn't played the whole game. They put him back there to up back in a punt formation, a fake punt scenario or something.
Because that's going to trick
Ray Charles could have seen coming.
That's going to trick the head coach in the history of college football, Nick Saban. Well, let's see. They're putting this super athletic dual threat quarterback as the up man in a crucial 4th down situation in the SEC championship. I'm sure this isn't a trick play.
Fun fact, that South Carolina loss you had, I was at that game, and it was one of those where I went with a buddy of mine, and I felt bad, honestly, because I was like, well, surely they'll win this one, and we'll all have a good time and go out. Let's go.
I will say this, though, and this, for real, to you, Wreckman, Jackpot, your team gets to a point where they're pretty good, and that's one of the last hurdles you got to get over is being able to win when you play bad, right? Georgia beat. See, remember the Georgia-Kentucky game last year?
Yes, played awful.
Georgia loses that game every year that Mark Richt is there, and some of the years when Kirby was there, that Georgia probably loses that game.
Yeah, first 2 years.
Learning to win those, like in 2018, Georgia wasn't at that point yet. Like if they just came out and played like crap, they were going to get beat by South Carolina that day, or 2019, and they did. Last year they played like crap, but they beat Kentucky. A couple of years ago, there was the 15-0 year. We go on the road to Missouri. I don't know what team that was that showed up. Georgia beat everybody they played by 40 that year. They go up to Missouri. They can't get a first down. It was weird, but they found a way to win in the end. Yeah. And both of y'all's teams are like in that middle ground now. You're still losing some of those games that you probably should win, but that's one of those last hurdles you got to get over.
Yeah, 100%. You got to not drop to Virginia or Syracuse, even though Syracuse was really good last year. You got to get over that. Now let's go to Knumbskull. What's the maddest you've been? Big kahuna here.
Well, I talk a lot of realignment, so Tar Heel fans get me going a little bit. Of course, I always love the Utah fans. Can y'all hear me all right? Just
I can.
Checking.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But I would, I went back and forth a whole lot with Utah fans. Of course, we're never going to join the Big 12. Your conference sucks. Welcome to the Big 12, dumbass. There's that kind of thing.
Sure.
As far as in college football, of course, I'm a TCU fan. Love that they got to the damn championship game. It wasn't Texas, wasn't OU during the CFP era in the Big 12. It was TCU, beat Michigan, and they didn't show up at all in the championship game. It was freaking embarrassing as hell. And then the next year, what happens? Can't even make a bowl game.
Rough.
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. They did better last year, but you can't just follow it up with a 5-7 season. That was stupid.
Yeah, man. I can't imagine how tough that would be for your team to get to a national title. I mean, that is the dream. Most fans are never going to experience that. And then you just get.
They went to the Natty game and lost to Deion Sanders the next time out, didn't they?
They did. Oh,
God.
yeah. It didn't get any better.
Hey, Georgia beat them twice. Dang.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I get it. Now, State of Atlanta, your team doesn't have a long history, but you look, you've beat Tennessee before, right? I mean, you've had some good wins. What's the maddest you've been as a Georgia State fan?
Man, as a Georgia State fan, if you're getting mad and pissed off and everything, then you've not been a Georgia State fan long enough. And like you said, we've not been around long. It's an Atlanta team. You know what it's like. Fans of Atlanta teams. We we always find new ways to disappoint or lose. So it's really hard to get pissed off as a Georgia State fan. It's just, ineptitude over and over again. But I will say that game, what was it, 22-23? We were playing at Auburn, and we're playing them tough. We're playing them really, really tough, and Auburn's coming down towards the end. I think it's right there at the end of the fourth quarter, a couple minutes to go. And there was that they called it a completion. They go to the booth review. All the Auburn fans are cheering their minds out, and then the replay comes up there, and it's clearly not a complete pass. They fall silent. We start cheering. It's great. Refs come back up. The SEC home cook and says, "Oh no, yeah, that was totally a completion." We end up losing the game. I don't know if we would have won, but if I'm mad about anything, is about how close we were in that game, and that was right there where we were, where our little section was. That we saw everything, firsthand point of view. That sucked.
Yeah. I almost took points away. I don't want to talk about almost. I'm a little sore on that subject.
You live in the Atlanta area?
What?
But
say that again, Lou.
You live in the Atlanta area, David?
Yeah, I'm downtown Atlanta. I'm actually, when people say they're from Atlanta, but they live like an hour and a half away, I actually live in the city limits of Atlanta.
Boy.
ITP, baby.
What was the vibe? What was the vibe like around Georgia State when Elliott quit last year?
See, this is the problem. These people are growing up, and they can't even be Georgia Tech fans. Oh God.
Were you guys pissed last year when Elliott just kind of up and quit in the spring?
That's a weird one because yes and no.
I would have been.
I think a large part of the fan base was already ready for Coach Elliott to move on. I think he did a lot of good stuff here. I like Elliott. We had a good personal relationship. He was great for the program at the time, but I think he had reached his peak. He had reached the most he was going to do at Georgia State. He still lived in Columbia. He never moved down here from Columbia when he took the job. So I think we were ready as a fan base to move on from him. But not that way, not when it happened, not, 2 days into spring training. That's a bad way to go about it. That said, getting Del McGee in from UGA has really seemed to be like, a slam dunk hire. Granted, last season didn't go very well, but, it's really hard to say. It's hard to say that we were pissed off or not because we were ready for him to go. It just was a bad timing. And then, we got McGee. We got Adele.
Yeah, Lou, they got a Georgia guy. You should be all about Georgia State, right?
Yeah, but man, what is Georgia Tech doing, man? Y'all are turning Atlanta residents into Group of Five fans, bud.
I can't even take points away in this show because I've got to take my medicine today. Georgia Tech's all ate up with stupid lately. But let's go to buy or sell. Now, I do watch your videos usually before we come on, and I saw Jackpot do a video about this, about fines. The SEC is fining $500,000 fine for storming the field now, which is a lot of money. Let's go to Lou here. What do you think about this increased fine for storming the fields, which seems to be, what we love about college football, one of the things.
Yeah, I've debated this topic before, and I hate being this way. You really can't be successful this way on the internet. You need to be hard on one side or the other of an issue. This is an issue I straddle the fence on. Both sides of this argument have valid points.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've done this before. I was at the Georgia versus Tennessee game in 2000. I think it was the only time the goalpost ever came down at Sanford Stadium. I'll remember it till the day I die. unbelievable experience. I wish every college football fan could experience it once. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, I think, with Sea Dog NU.
Yeah.
I think doing it at that Georgia Tech game. It's an unbelievable experience. It's also extremely fucking dangerous. I mean, it is. You've got some fans that get out there, they don't know how to act. They go out there, they look for trouble with the opposing players. We've seen it happen. I don't want a player to get involved physically with any type of fan, but anybody that's played sports on any level, you know how emotional that can be. And especially given the circumstances, if you lose a close game that matters, and they all matter, but like, God forbid it's some kind of huge game or something, and then you've got somebody from the opposing fan base on the field in your face, it would be hard for me to like come down on a player if he were to react in that situation. And plus, people are just nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what they're gonna. So I don't know what the answer. I don't want it to be banned because having experienced it, it's unbelievable. And I don't know what the right way to rush the field is, but if you do it the right way, maybe you put up some type of a clock, a 2-minute clock to give the other team some time to get off something. I don't know. Of course, if you put up a clock, that sort of, it almost seems like you're fabricating the moment then, instead of it being kind of spontaneous. So I don't know. I understand the argument on both sides. It is extremely dangerous. And I think we're lucky that there haven't been more issues, problems, injuries, altercations, whatever. There was an issue with basketball last year where somebody accused a player or something of trying to trip. I think, was it Cooper Flag, or I don't remember who it was, somebody trying to trip somebody or something. So I understand both. I don't know what the answer is. Finding the schools is not going to stop it. Sure. So $500,000 is not, I mean, that's a drop in the bucket.
For a lot
It's
of schools.
college. It's college. People die. Who cares?
People die.
Well,
well, look, I will
Anyone
say,
else remember the A&M?
Hey, I know people die
I think
downtown Atlanta, but
basketball
man,
court storming's more dangerous than football, especially for your players. And football, at least you're in full football gear.
Did you see the NBA player's dad last week? I mean, what are you doing? Did y'all see that?
I did.
What happened?
Halliburton for the Pacers, his dad ran on the. You know who Giannis is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Giannis looks like who they modeled the Greek statue of David. Like, you can see every muscle. Like, he could. I mean, and this guy's 65 years old. The Pacers win. Halliburton's dad runs on the court and gets in Giannis's face and is yelling at him, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And I was watching the game, and I was like, if Giannis decks this guy, good for Giannis.
Yeah, pay it.
Dangerous.
I remember when Ron Artest played for the Pacers when he started throwing haymakers at the fans. You remember that?
Now,
yeah, that was a different thing.
Yeah, you can't go into bleach. Now, that fan should be arrested and thrown in jail for assault for throwing a water bottle at him. But as a player, you have to know you get a lot of privileges, benefits, all that. There's some risk there. Somebody might say something you don't like. You can't go into the stands as a player. That's a big no-no.
That's true. Let's go to Knumbskull. What do you think about this $500,000 fine field rush, and what's the right way to go about this?
Don't fine them. Just why get involved at all? Let them rush the field. Who cares? Who cares? Oh, people are going to get hurt. People got hurt going to the game. People got hurt leaving the game. Who cares? People get hurt all the time. When's the last time someone died? That hasn't happened. And as far as, like someone getting into Giannis's face, it needs to be handled like pro wrestling. All right. A fan gets in the ring, the fan gets stomped. And that's it.
Yeah.
There's no police, there's no nothing. You leave the ring bloody as hell, and they drag you into an ambulance, and bye-bye. That's how it should be handled. No $500,000 fine for people rushing the field. Shut up. It's college, right? It's supposed to be all about emotion, all about love of the game, jumping in the field. It's a time-honored tradition. Shut up.
I mean, I get
Leave it alone.
they're gonna do it anyways. I'm sure for schools and players now that they're getting NIL money, there's a liability issue. We are going to see someone sue over something related to this probably in the future. Let's go to Jackpot.
I mean, I think you got to try to do something to calm it down, and that's the deal with the fines. But once again, I agree that it's not. I mean, it's not going to go away. They're not going to stop. And I wanted to throw one thing out there too. The ACC, we know they're not going to institute this because they're a little cash cow darling. Clemson does it after every game, win or lose. So I mean, what are you going to slap them with a fine after every game? 12 games a year, 8 games a year, whatever it is.
So $6 million a year. Well, only half of them are home, so like $3 million a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, and you know, you say nobody's died yet. I mean, I don't know. I mean, could that potentially happen? I mean, it could.
If it does, if it does, we'll all just, we'll say a prayer. All right. We'll wish hopes and feelings, but yeah. Fines, lawsuits, kiss my ass. It's college football.
You're leaning
And
into the
that's
heel.
the thing too. I'm sure they're trying to avoid ever having to get into any litigation over anything, because everybody's scared of getting sued. I mean,
I love it when there's a championship
goes too,
and the riot happens.
What can the school do? There's already 500 police officers there. I mean, like, I don't know. What do the school's going to put up a gate? I mean, what can the schools really do? There's 80,000 people in an SEC stadium on average. Some of them more.
True.
I mean, you find the school.
You can. I mean, you can't add more police officers. There's not any to take.
Yeah.
Oh, so where did the fine come from? Who fined them?
The conference, the SEC.
Conference fines, and the money goes to the opposition, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's the way that works.
And it's increased. It's on the second time you do it, it's $1 million, whatever.
Oh, it's.
Well, I thought the SEC was all hardcore. What's this fining crap?
Clemson would go broke by game 5.
All right, let's go to.
So they're doing tiers still. You get fined $1 million if you do it the second time.
I'm assuming because that's how it's always been before. It used to be $250.
I thought they did away with the tiers and it was just instituting $500,000 and maybe it's $500,000. I don't.
Yeah, it used to be $250 and then $500 and then $1 million.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to David. What do you think about this?
I think you guys are all looking at this with those power conference goggles on. You got to look at this from a group of 5, group of 6 perspective. This is, I'm going to put my tinfoil conspiracy hat on. This is the power conference way of bankrupting the group of 5 programs. They're going to let some of these bottom dweller power 5 teams lose to a G5 team, and then the G5 team storms the field. $500,000, that bankrupts the program. These programs just go out of business. They don't have any money because they're bankrupt. So
the
that's
SEC can't fine you, buddy. The SEC can't.
I know. I'm talking about it from the perspective of as a whole across college football.
Maybe a Mississippi State wouldn't be able to shoulder that like a LSU, maybe.
Right. I mean, at some point they're going to try to push this through to the entire conference if it goes through. But who the hell is SEC teams storming the field for beating?
Well, Tennessee storms the field every time they beat Bama. So twice.
So like once in the past 20 years. Yeah. Well, we stormed the field when we beat Vanderbilt. And it was like, and you could see both of our fans out there.
Yeah. I think Vandy, I think, rushed the field when they beat Bama.
Our fans that were there stormed the field when we beat Georgia and tore up the hedges.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sensitive about that.
They get very sensitive about those hedges up there.
I will say this before we move on to the next topic. There are some good points. I did rush the field. I've done it twice. I did it against FSU in 2015. I did it obviously last year. And if you have never been a part of it, when you're on the field, I mean, you're right up there with these college athletes. And so there's Tech fans getting in Mario Cristobal's face, have their phones out, putting it in front of players' face. I mean, I could see this going badly. I mean, can you imagine someone that looks like me trying to talk shit to you after you lost? I mean, he probably wouldn't handle it well. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say. So let's move on to the next one. 5 plus 11 or the Big Tens, 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. So what we're talking about here is 5 guaranteed, I think, conference champions is what Sankey's kind of thrown around, and then 11 at large. Big Ten commissioners throwing out 4 guaranteed for the SEC, 4 guaranteed for the Big Ten, 2 for the other conferences, and 1 at large group of 5. Buying or selling both of these, none of these, one of these. What do you think? Let's go to Knumbskull.
I'm kind of with the Big Ten, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
But to me, I think I think everything should be a big ass play in before that. That's me. So the ACC and the Big 12 should play for a third spot, get 2 automatic, play for one of the at larges. Notre Dame, if they don't suck, they get 1. And then, to me, let the SEC and let the Big Ten come together and play for a 5th one. And then when Notre Dame doesn't get in, have a little round robin for the group of 5. Let them play for a 2nd one, and then everyone plays their way in. I mean, that's what I like.
So, okay, you'd kind of be for expanding it beyond what it is then, from my
Yeah,
understanding.
but the basic 4, 4, 2, 2, 1, 3. I'm kind of more for that than I am the 5 and 11.
Okay, so you're buying 4, 4. Let's go to David.
Yeah.
Which one of these are you buying or selling? Both? None? One?
I mean, I think you could buy either one of them. One of them's probably going to happen. But as a fan, I'm selling on both of them. I don't understand why you've got to guarantee conferences anything outside of their conference champion. SEC's probably going to have 4 teams in there every single year. So why on a down year, whatever that may be, 5 teams and whatever, on a down year, and you don't get one in the top 50, you don't get 5 teams in the top 15, so be it. Let somebody else from the 12 or whatever get in there. I don't see why you get anybody in besides the conference champions. And as a G5 fan, I'm not even going to go there and say that all 10 conference champions need to get in there. I get it. Give the top 4 their guaranteed spot and give one G5 team that spot in there, seed it however the hell you want to seed it. But there's no reason to guarantee certain conferences a certain number of spots, just because of historical, significance.
Sure. Makes sense. Let's go to Jackpot. Which one of these do you like? Both, one, none?
Shit, man. Probably the 5-11 model, because I want to, play it out. I want to see it played out. No strength of schedule here. No, no conference that gets a little favoritism here. I just want to play it out. Let's the best ones, the most deserving ones, be in there. You know what I mean?
Makes sense to me. Yeah. So it seems like you're in line with David. Lou, which one of these do you like?
I'm against any conference getting preferential treatment over any other. And by any conference, I mean the 4 major conferences. The group of 5 should have their own playoff. It's not fair to it's not fair to a group of 5 to just throw them a bone of one team. They're never going to win it. We could play for another 100 years. They'll never win one. It sucks that there's however many thousands group of 5 players out there, and not a single one of them has a chance of ever winning a national championship. I think that's wrong. They should go the FCS route, do their own playoffs. They don't belong with the group of 4. And I don't believe in any conference getting preferential treatment over another in terms of guaranteed bids. Every conference should have either one automatic qualifier, or if you're going to go to a 16-team playoff, the top 4 teams from all 4 conferences. Group of 5 and Notre Dame, you're out.
All right. I'll bounce back to David real quick. He did talk about the group of 5. You're on here representing them. What do you think about what Lou said about the group of 5?
A group of 5 conference championship, or not conference, a group of 5 championship tournament playoff schedule is absolutely the worst idea. I mean, you talk about go the FCS route. I mean, at that point, we're just being relegated back to FCS as it is. There is that separation. I fully acknowledge the separation between the power teams and the group of teams, but I have zero interest in a group of 5 playoff tournament at the end of the season, completely separate, unless we just do an NIT style and it's the top group of 5 teams and the bottom barrel of the power teams that didn't make it in. But don't make any rules about the specific conferences. Just, you got your top 16 teams in the playoff championship. The next 14 teams out can do their own thing or something like that. But I don't want to see the group of 5 team be forced in that position unless the power teams do this inevitable split, which I do believe will happen. So rip the Band-Aid off, separate completely from the rest of NCAA Division I football, and do your own thing. And then whatever is left over from the power conferences and what the group of 5 teams have, they can figure out what they want to do from there, or continue to have what true college football has been for over 100 years and keep that going. And you guys can have your minor league, NFL, whatever it is.
Yeah. When you say top 16, though, what does that mean?
I mean,
top 16 according to who? You?
Well, sure. I absolutely pay me $1 million a year and I'll get to pick the teams. No, it's
this is the problem. Top 16. I mean, no other legitimate sports league on the planet operates this way. Take the top 4 teams from the top 4 conferences and let's have a playoff. I mean,
and you're doing that, and you're doing that exactly.
No, we're not doing that. Exactly. We're putting Notre Dame in there. We're putting Boise State in there.
Yeah.
We're putting only one Big 12 team in there. Why do they have to purposely make this as complicated as they? Look at the bottom of the screen. You have to have a calculator to figure out how many teams are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Do you want the 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 model? No. I don't want that.
No, I don't disagree with them making it as complicated as it can be, but I do believe that, as long as FBS is FBS, then the teams in there need to be treated on some level equally. And I'm okay with the group of 5 getting one team in that 4+1 model. I'm fine with that. But and the seeding was wacky last year with, who was it? Boise State was hosting, who was it, Penn State or whatever. I think it would have been Boise State versus Indiana if things had done with the natural seeding. That would have been a better game for everybody to watch. And and then Boise State could have Boise State could have won that game, and then they move on. Do they go beyond that? Probably not. You're not going to see a group of 5 team move on. But that's what's great about college basketball, is seeing these Cinderella teams. And basketball and football are 2 different sports. I get it. So many more different people played in a different environment, but it's until the power conferences actually separate themselves, completely. Group of 5 are still in there.
Somebody in the chats with the conferences aren't equal. Yeah, no shit. Who's better, the AFC or the NFC? Do we sit back at the end of every NFL football season and go, well, the AFC was better than the NFC last year, so we're going to change the playoffs. We're going to let the AFC get 12 teams into the playoffs next year, and the NFC only gets 4. No. I don't know why it has to be so complicated. People cry about the committee. If it's a 4-team playoff, the 5th and the 6th team is crying. If it's a 12-team playoff like last year, the 13, the 14, the 15, and the 16 were crying. When we go to 16, the 17, the 18, the 19 will be crying. Oh, they did. Alabama fans. Well, they didn't calculate strength of schedule. Yeah, they did. You were ranked 11th in the final rankings, ahead of Arizona State, who had a better record than you, Alabama. So why were you ranked ahead of Arizona State? Because of your strength of schedule. So they did factor strength of schedule. Alabama just wasn't good enough to get in. They didn't deserve to get in. Alabama did not deserve to be in the playoff. So they didn't get in. But every year, it's the same thing. It's crying about the committee every year. Just get rid of them. Just get rid of the committee. Everybody goes to 20 teams. You've got 4 conferences, 20 teams, top 4 get in, 16-team playoffs, play it down. If you finish 5th in your conference, you don't deserve to make the playoffs. So put top 4 in, and then let's be done with it. I mean, it would be simple.
All right.
There's a natural drop-off somewhere between the top 15, top 20 teams in the nation. And I think that 12, 16 teams is probably too many. When they had the BCS and it was number 1 versus number 2, 3 and 4 complained. When they went to 4 teams in the college football playoff, 5 complained. At some point, you get to really, really quickly get to a point where that kind of drop off becomes far less significant.
Yeah, but
I
it's not going to stop.
I think 6 or 8 teams was really all that's necessary. But the money is what drives all of this, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
sure.
The money is why you have the 12 and 16.
South Carolina had as much chance as Georgia State of winning a national title last year. Yet I had to listen to South Carolina fans cry for the entire month of December that they didn't get in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Hey, we're cheering
it's
over a
a
3-win season.
it's a regressive argument. I mean, it's like what came before the big game?
No.
What came before that? You're just going to keep backing it up. So let's close the book on this, and let's be the bookie. And you know we always got to play the life of a gambler here. So let's see it.
Yo, oh my God, I'm debt free. I'm fucking debt free. I'm fucking debt free. No, I lost it all. I'll clean it all up.
All right, so let's turn the tables here. You be the bookie. All right, so you set the spread, you set the over under. We usually have one prop bet in here. And let's start with Georgia State. Georgia State has an interesting game here. Georgia State at Ole Miss. Let me get this other one off here. So we can see it. Saturday, August 30th, 7:30 p.m. GSU at Ole Miss. You set the spread on this. So we haven't done one where there's a large spread before. And I think these are probably as difficult as a close spread to set. So you can talk about if you're Vegas, what you'd set it at, or what you think it truly should be at. You can go either way. We'll start with David, since this is your team. What would you set this spread at on the road week 1?
As bad of a program as we have been historically, we've always done pretty well covering the spread. I think a 21-point game in favor of the Panthers, obviously, is probably where Ole Miss is looking. But no, I think 21 points for Ole Miss over Georgia State is pretty reasonable. It could very easily be more than that, but I think that's a reasonable spread. I think most people would probably take the over.
All right, 21-point spread. I do have it written down here. I will tell you after everyone answers. Let's go to Lou. What would you set this spread at?
Man, Ole Miss is one of those teams that'll run the score up on you if they can. Lane likes to do that, and they have the offense to do it. But that doesn't always happen in week 1. They got a new quarterback. They got some new pieces. Home game at home. So I'm going to say 34.
34, okay. Let's go to Knumbskull. What do you set this spread at? Georgia State on the road.
Not good.
A lot.
Sorry. Yeah, probably underdog 30 points.
30. All right, so you're giving 30 points to Georgia State. Jackpot, what do you set this spread at?
Yeah, Ole Miss, despite all those new pieces, they do like to run the score up against the Group of 5 foes and that. I'm going to say Ole Miss minus 31.
31. So we're all in the 30 point so far. We went to everyone, right? Just to make sure. I get lost in this. Yeah. I'm sorry. Spread, and I'm just pulling it off of ESPN. Lou, do you know who ESPN uses for those spreads?
They have their own ESPN bet.
All right. So ESPN has this 35.5 point spread. So everyone's a little bit under. You usually don't. Yeah, you don't usually see spreads that high. I would probably take the under on that all day on a week 1 game. But yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's go Auburn at Baylor. This is a Friday night game, 8 p.m. Auburn on the road at Baylor. Give me the over-under on this. We'll start with Lou.
God, the over-under. Georgia's a 38.5 point favorite over Marshall. That line came out today in week 1. Auburn at Baylor, the over-under? Jesus, Auburn's had one of the worst offenses on the planet the last few years. They've got a turnover machine through the transfer portal at quarterback. Dave Aranda can't get out of his own way and's got Baylor circling the drain, much to my chagrin because I thought he was a good head coach. Over-under week 1, Auburn-Baylor? 42.
42. All right. Let's go to Jackpot. What do you got this over under at?
Let's go. Hold on. I'm trying to think here. Let's go 51.
51. All right. Going over Lou there. David, what you got this over under at? Auburn on the road at Baylor.
I'm going to go with $1, Bob.
$1?
No, I think Lou's on the right track. I'm going to say 56.
56. All right. Numbskull, what do you got this over under at?
44.
44. So you're going under everyone else. All right. Over under on this per ESPN is set at 56.5.
Ooh, that's too high.
Yeah, I would take the under on that one. I get that Hugh Freeze is supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. He does have Arnold that's coming in that's problematic. He also has a 5-star coming in. In fact, I think he's got, of the top 11 recruits in Alabama, he's got like 8 of them. So he's recruiting well. He just hasn't turned it around on the field yet. So let's go to our prop bet here. Thought this might be an interesting one. Saturday noon game, 8:30, Syracuse at Tennessee, but this game is at the Benz.
I like this one.
I want you to give me the rushing number for Tennessee here. You don't like that one?
Yeah, I can put on a blindfold and throw a dart. Let's go.
Well, just in general, I think Syracuse at Tennessee is interesting. Syracuse loses almost everything that made their team good last year. Tennessee is probably not 100% sure who their quarterback's going to be, but it's probably going to be an Aguilar kid. Let's go to Jackpot. How many rushing yards do you think Tennessee gets? And I picked this because I imagine Tennessee's going to want to run the ball a lot in this game with a new quarterback.
150.
150, all right. Seems a bit high, but I'm sure they're going to want to run the ball a lot. Let's go to David.
Well, my in-laws are all from Syracuse and Syracuse fans, and I was born in Tennessee, family with Tennessee degrees. So got a little bit of interest in this one. I'm going to say Tennessee goes $175, 175 yards.
All right. A lot of people on the panel high on Tennessee's rushing ability. They were really good at it last year. Numbskull, what do you got the rushing yards Tennessee hosting Syracuse at the Benz?
99.
99 rushing yards. All right, so they're not getting to 100. Lou, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a new quarterback, but it's a new running back too. I mean, they lose Dylan Sampson, which was about 70% of their offense last year, one of the best running backs in the SEC. I do think they'll have a pretty good offensive line. I don't know about the running game versus last year. And I don't know that much about what Syracuse has coming back on defense either.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
They weren't great last year defensively.
Yeah, I'm going to put somebody already said 150. I think it's probably somewhere around there. I'll go 160.
160 makes sense. Now, I don't think they put one out on this. You could find one. I don't know. I'd probably set it around 120 if it was me. But let's move on. That's all our bookie questions. Now let's go to not like the others. I like that one. I won't play the clip because Lou didn't like it. Let's just go straight to conferences. Which one of these conferences is not like the other? The ACC, Big 12, SEC, Big 10. Let's start with Lou.
Which one is not like the other? Boy, I'm going to go with, I mean, two are not like the others. But
Sure. Maybe one's way better than the other, in your opinion. Who knows?
Yeah. Man. I'm going to go. The ACC is not like the others.
Okay.
The Big 12 to me is the most entertaining conference in all of football to watch. It's the most, it's got the most parity. I don't think there's necessarily any top 5 type potential teams in the Big 12, but I think there's 7 or 8 teams that could be top 25-ish. In the SEC obviously has that, and the Big 10 has that more towards the top 10 than the top 20. That's front loaded. The ACC's got 3 or 4. Florida State, it's hurting the ACC. They're not going to be any good again. Louisville, Clemson, Miami, and then I would put probably Georgia Tech after that. But we're now talking about 7-win teams with bowl loss rings being the 4th best team in your league.
We're going to get to it. Yeah.
So I'm going to say The ACC, not like the others.
ACC, not like the others. All right, let's go to Jackpot. Which one of these conferences, which one of the Power Four conferences is not like the other?
Well, the SEC's not like the other ones, obviously, because we don't have teams spread across 4 different time zones.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. It's a good answer.
We only got 2 covered there, buddy. There is 4, right? Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more involved in those conferences. I mean, the SEC still is kind of geographically tight.
True.
Especially, in comparison to those 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all over the place.
Yeah, now the ACC's got Stanford, Cal. They're literally coast to coast with nothing in the middle. Maybe Louisville you'd consider in the middle.
Louisville's more eastern.
Louisville's
basically East Coast.
East of Mississippi.
SMU's in the middle.
That's true. You got one team out there in Texas.
One forgettable team in the middle.
Let's go to you, Numbskull. Which one of these is not like the other?
Well, Lou had it right. It's the Big 12. I mean, it's nothing but parity. There's no blue bloods here. I mean, at least with Clemson, Florida State, Miami, you can make a case for them being blue bloods. UNC fans wish they were.
Well, you said Big 12. Which? You talking about ACC?
No, I'm saying he started making points about the Big 12, and that's why I say the Big 12 is not like the others. Just because there's no blue bloods here, it's all parity. And the other team, with the SEC, I mean, there's the bottom of the SEC is probably never going to win the SEC. Same thing with the Big 10. I don't think there'll ever be a day where we say, "Hey, Purdue just won the Big 10," or Northwestern just won the Big 10. So, but anybody can win the Big 12. It's like up in the air.
It's true. Let's go to David. Which one of these is not like the other?
Yeah, when I first started thinking about this, when you asked the question, my immediate thought was, all right, we're talking. You got SEC and Big 10 in there, so you're talking about who are the best conferences, and so my immediate thought was I would actually exclude the Big 12. But I think Jackpot makes a good point about when you looked at all the conference realignment and what happened there, yeah, sure, the SEC kicked things off with Texas and Oklahoma, but then it seemed like, Big 10 and Big 12 were, just going for the scraps. What can they do? Pick apart the Pac conference. ACC had to go and figure out and get, some leftovers there and then pulling up at SMU from the group of 5. So I'm gonna agree with Jackpot. I think SEC is actually the different one. They kind of led the charge, and they're the tighter footprint. And yeah, I think they're the ones that the outlier. They're clearly the best.
Going with geography. We'll go back to Lou. I'm not awarding any more points. You had to mute yourself, and I have to know why.
I almost had a stroke when my man said Florida State, Clemson, and Miami were blue bloods.
I think you could make an argument. You could make an argument if you want to.
It would be 95. It would be a Florida State and Miami didn't win a single thing for the first 60 or 70 years of their existence. Nothing. Nada.
That's true. Miami's never won the ACC as well.
Florida State, they started out as a all-girls school, and then it became the clown college, and then
Miami's been good 2.5 out of the last 11 decades. That's not a blue blood.
Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, no, but I
did you ever watch that 30 for 30 on them, like in the late 70s, when Nick Saban's dad was coaching them? They were giving away tickets at Burger King.
Who's that? Miami?
Miami,
yeah. They were so bad they were having to give away tickets on a Whopper.
I don't think Lou's ever seen that 30 for 30.
That 30 for 30 is the most watched 30 for 30 of all time. The one on Miami. I mean, the brand is real,
too, right?
The brand is just real.
If you pull up the list of all-time wins, it will shock you the teams that have more wins than Florida State and Miami.
Yeah, but see, everyone goes off the wins. But if you think about the Dallas Cowboys, there's no richer franchise anywhere in the world than the Dallas Cowboys. They ain't won jack shit in 30 years.
Right, but we're talking about college blue bloods, not how much money an NFL team makes.
Yeah, I'm making the comparison because the Dallas Cowboys are the brand when it comes to any live sport, yet they haven't won jack. They haven't been really relevant in 30 years.
This is true.
So, And I know Florida State, but they did go undefeated. They did win the ACC just 2 years ago. And no, they're not the winningest programs. They don't have they don't have the history of a lot of these SEC teams. They don't. But
They don't have
they
the
do
history
have
of Georgia
huge
Tech.
brands.
Well, there's only
They-
two
but
SEC blue bloods.
but they're huge brands with huge audiences.
Well, yeah.
They're national brands.
Yeah. Well, they're worldwide.
And that's what I base that on.
blue bloods, though.
Yeah, I think
What's-
you're both agreeing. Yeah, they're both big
Alabama
brands.
and Texas are blue bloods.
True. Let me get to a super chat real quick. We'll move on to the next thing. Rambling on with Zach Jones with a $2 super chat says Georgia Tech is more of a blue blood than FSU and Miami. Georgia Tech has more national titles than Florida State does. You didn't
sure
know
they
that.
got more wins too.
I guarantee you they do. Yeah. I mean, hell, Georgia Tech has more SEC titles than a lot of SEC teams. Isn't that right,
Well,
Jackpot?
people make this argument about Florida too. Florida was in the SEC for 6 decades before they ever won it.
Georgia Tech actually dominates Clemson in the series.
Every
do.
SEC title Florida's ever won occurred during a 17-year period. They've been playing football for 100 years.
This
They're
is
not-
true. Let's talk about some teams. Which one of these is not like the other? Miami, USC, the South Carolina variant, BYU, had to get a Big 12 in there, and Indiana. Which one of these is not like the other? This one's tough. These teams are, you have to think about this one. So I'll give you a second to think. We'll go through the chat here. Uncle Lou, be careful how you talk about the mighty Gators. B Bean is calling you out. I've heard
See,
people.
Miami, USC, BYU, and Indiana.
Yes. Which one of those is not like the other? Let's go to Lou.
I'm going to go with Indiana. I think if you just ask the average idiot, like, to tell you, like, they're a whatever school, like, take South Carolina. I know they haven't won anything, but I guess maybe they would say women's basketball. But, like, you ask anybody about Indiana, the first thing they're going to think of is basketball. At least with Miami and, BYU, Miami and BYU have natties. South Carolina has more ACC titles than Miami. So they have that. So Indiana's not like the other. They're a basketball school.
This is true. They made the playoffs last year, but that's about all they can talk about in football.
Yeah.
Let's go to David. Which one of these is not like the other? Miami, South Carolina, BYU, Indiana.
I mean, I think this is pretty cut and dry. I mean, coming from someone who is all about the tailgate and all the pre-gaming and the festivities, BYU is the one that's out. What do? They may have a Coca-Cola caffeine free at their tailgate or something like that. But these other 3 schools, they're going to do it up. They're going to have a good old time, and they'll be those. You watch a Miami guy make an awesome play on the screen. You're like, that guy's getting laid tonight. You watch a BYU player make an awesome play. You're like, that guy is going to like study hall.
Chastity belt. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my favorite answer thus far. Yeah, BYU, not like the others. Let's go to Numbskull. Which one of these is not like the other?
Well, I mean, I understand the BYU thing. They actually have they do it up pretty big for their games. I'm going to say Miami is not like the others as far as just if you go into the stands, maybe a lot of empty seats.
True.
I'm just saying, unlike the others. So Miami.
What about their stadium is not like the others, Numbskull?
Take the train. I don't know what they.
yeah, not on their campus. Let's go to Jackpot. Which one of these is not like the others?
I was gonna say Miami and was gonna with the whole on-campus stadium thing, but I think Indiana they're kind of is a basketball school that's fallen on kind of tough times in basketball lately. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to morph. I think they're trying to morph into a football school, maybe spending a ton of money on NIL, spending a ton of money on new coach. It kind of looks like they're a little bit different. Whilst the others, I think, all are pretty much football first. Although, I mean, us with the natties, I guess, in women's basketball, but nobody is going to claim just a women's basketball school. It's either one of the three major men's sports, and I think South Carolina, Miami, and who was the other one we were talking about? BYU. Yeah, I don't even know. They have a baseball team, but I mean, they're all football program schools. So I'm going to go with Indiana on that. It's the only thing I can think of there, other than the whole Mormon deal.
All right.
BYU having a Jew quarterback was content gold. Jerry.
Who they called that, like media people, like.
Well, he called himself that. Like he embraced that name, and so it's stuck. Otherwise, everybody would have been canceled for doing it.
Yeah, but I would feel like that's a trap if I'm a media person. Like, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to be gone. Maybe I'm paranoid. Let's go to stadiums. Which one of these stadiums is not like the other? Talked about one of them already. William Bryce, Bobby Dodd. William Bryce, if you don't know, if you're watching, is where South Carolina plays. Bobby Dodd is where Georgia Tech plays. Is it Center Place? I got Center P on here. That's where Georgia State plays, formerly known as Turner Field, and Sun Life, Center Park, and Sun Life, which is where Miami plays. So USC Stadium, Georgia Tech Stadium, Georgia State Stadium, Miami Stadium. Which one of these stadiums is not like the others? Let's go to Knumbskull.
Miami. Easy.
Miami.
Yeah.
Easy.
Miami, not like the others. Okay, let's go to David.
Well, how many of these stadiums have hosted the Olympics, World Series, and home of college football? I think Center Park Stadium is the only one that stands out in that crowd.
You got what I was putting down. That's exactly what I was thinking. Had an Olympic there. Let's go to Lou. Which one of these stadiums is not like the other?
Williams Bryce. There's people there. Every Saturday in the fall. So I've seen South Carolina go 0-11 and have 80,000 people at every home game. I've made a career off of clowning South Carolina. They've got the best fans, the most loyal fans. We wouldn't put up with what they have put up with over the last 25, 30, 40 years, whatever it is. And they show up every week. And you know what? It ain't easy to win there. Because of those fans are crazy. You get into a game with South Carolina that's close in the second half, you're in trouble. Like, that's a tough place to play. And Georgia's had success there lately. We don't play anymore, but because of the new scheduling. But these other places, Bobby Dodd is a ghost town, and it's 500 years. Bobby Dodd's the worst stadium in the country. Period. It's terrible. The mezzanine thing where the concession stands are like the hallway in your house. They're 4 feet wide in some areas. You can't fit 2 or 3 people through there. No one go when Georgia plays there. It's 80% Georgia fans now. Bobby Dodd is down so bad they're selling their home games to Mercedes-Benz. Like it's that bad. Miami is obvious. They don't have any fans that live down there. They're all internet fans. No one goes to those games. Plus, it's not on campus anyway. It's terrible. And I can't speak to the attendance at Turner Field for Georgia State. I hope it's great. I don't have any Georgia State at all.
We'll go with that. We'll go with great. We're going to go with great. We'll take that. Yeah.
I'm going to assume there's 25,000 people or so at the games there. And
every game, we're having to turn people away. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's Williams Bryce. That place is packed. It doesn't matter who they're playing. It doesn't matter how good or bad they are. Those fans are insane. Jackpot, talking to you, bud.
Hey, we're renovating Bobby Dodd. Let's go to Jackpot. Which one of these is not like the other?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to go with Williams Bryce, just in terms of it's an intimidating environment and the passionate fan base, no doubt. I mean, I think that one has helped us win. I don't know, quite a few games over the years. Shut up, Cap.
Control your pussy, boss.
Yeah, I know. It's getting kind of loose over here.
Damn.
And Harry. Let him out, but yeah, rails. I mean, what he says is right. I mean, there every Saturday in the fall at Williams Bryce, Hope Springs Eternal. I mean, you're not going to see. I mean, you may see a sparse crowd against a Jacksonville State or an Old Dominion or something late in the year, but outside of that, any conference game is going to be packed. Any game early in the season is going to be packed. It's just a really good atmosphere for college football.
Yeah, I think Josh Payton, I mean, he's been to probably almost every stadium, or he's been to a majority of them. I think he said William Bryce was the most intimidating, loud environment he's been to. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so. All right, let's go to some of our general questions now. The one you all been wanting to talk about. Where do the Georgia Tech rings nonsense rank in the dumb things that have happened in college football? I mean, every month or so now, we're having something else that's just completely stupid that's happening. Where does this rank? I've made videos about this. I'm sure everyone knows my opinion. We'll go to David. What do you? First of all, are you aware of this? You got a ring pop. You get 2, 3 points.
I got my ring pop. I was ready for this conversation, man. I thought that we'd all be given rings for being on here. As a Georgia Tech guy hosting this thing, be handing out rings, but I brought my own.
Oh, real quick. We did decide whoever comes in third tonight will get a ring. You will get a ring, and you get 3 points for bringing one. Go ahead.
Outstanding.
I mean, like, on the surface, I don't really give a shit what any other program does. But it's kind of weird that you list the bowl game on there that you lost.
Yeah.
You include the Florida games that you won. I don't know, just give them like a joint and a Corona and be like, beyond you beat Florida, great, it's awesome. Or the Florida teams. I don't know. I don't really care. We got a lot of grief when we went to our first bowl game and gave out rings, and that was a loss. But we were a new program, and it was the first time we ever went to a bowl game, so it was a little justification. But we got shit about it. You guys have been around since the beginning of God, So it's kind of weird. I know about it, but I don't know about the justification in the whole thing. But whatever, you guys do you. Have fun.
Well, definitely making a ring for your first bowl appearance makes way more sense. And just context, evidently an alumni gave this to the students, and for some reason they decided, or not students, but the team, they decided to publicize it. Let's go to Jackpot. What do you think about rings for bowl losses?
I mean, I think so. The alumni. What do we know about this alumnus who provided them with it? Was this an older person, or
I just know that
he believes in participation trophies.
He believes in participation trophies. I mean, he owns a company that makes rings, and I guess he thought it'd be a nice thing to do.
It's just when I saw it, I thought it was a joke. I mean, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was something that AI did, and
that's what I thought.
This is coming from. Steve Spurrier had 11 win rings made for Carolina back in 2013, I think, for going 11-3, 3 years in a row, 11-2, whatever it was. I think their heart was probably in the right place, and maybe whoever it is maybe someone who doesn't know that this is gonna not get you a lot of brownie points as far as social media. In fact, it's going to get your school kind of clowned on a little bit. And obviously this is a person who knows. I mean, they've won a national Tech has won a national championship. I mean, it's in the modern 1990 was in the modern era. It's not like, they won it back in Pop Warner leather helmet days.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he knows that the standard for actually wearing a ring or having a ring made is a lot higher than making a bowl game. So I don't know. It's always very odd to me.
Yeah, making a bowl and losing. Let's go to Numbskull. What do you think about this Georgia Tech ring stuff? It's everywhere.
It's kind of akin to a wrestling fan going to a live show like Raw and having the heavyweight belt, the fake belt. It's akin to that, but I can't get too mad at Georgia. If it's like, an alumni, doing the rings for the kids or young adults, whatever. Okay, it's a bad look, but you can't really kick Georgia Tech in the nuts too bad for that. But
sure.
I don't know. Maybe I would just take the rings up and just, I don't know. confiscate the rings. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a little embarrassing. A little embarrassing. It's just a little.
Do we have any idea what any of the players said about this?
Honestly, I could probably find that out. I'll make a video about it. But let's
I'd
go.
I'd like a quote from Haynes King on his ring.
Well, let's go to someone who doesn't mind kicking Georgia Tech in the nuts. Lou, what do you think about this? You're the one who informed me.
Yeah, there's no excuse for this. This is ridiculous, and this should have been stopped before it ever got to this point by Brent Key. I don't know what he's going to say about this, or if he has said anything about it, or whatever. But this is insanity. There is nothing about a 7-6 season that culminates in a loss to Vanderbilt.
Bad loss too.
Yeah,
We
that
beat
makes
Vandy. We
some
beat
type
Vandy.
of ring. It's
did.
embarrassing. It's sad. It's pitiful, and you're doing it in a time where it appears like Georgia Tech is headed in the right direction. I mean, they're miles better now, team-wise, program-wise, coaching staff-wise, financially, everything than they were 4 or 5 years ago under Jeff Collins. And this is just a self-inflicted wound. I mean, is this going to make them a worse team next year? No, but it's going to make it a laughing stock for a while. And now, to Georgia Tech fans' credit, about 80% or so off of my math that I've done on Twitter feels the same way I do.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing. So I'm not jumping on Georgia Tech fans, because for the most part, they feel the same way we all feel. This is ridiculous. You engraved a win over a 2-win team. I mean, this is complete insanity. To put the score of the Florida State game on there, they were 2-10, man.
They could have been 3-9. They could have been 3-9.
A lot of things could have happened. They could have not made these rings, but they did. I mean, this is bad.
Weren't they embracing the home wins with those rings?
Yeah, because we played.
Well, Florida State won the home win.
5-0 at home because you
That was
sold
an Ireland win.
You sold one of your home games to Mercedes-Benz Stadium and got the life beat out of you by Notre Dame, or else it would have said 5-1.
Yeah,
That was a home game. You just played it down the road. This is way worse than Florida State's rings from last year, where they pretended they didn't play a 14th game, and they had 13-0 engraved on their rings when they were really 13-1. They had a legitimate gripe. I think it was stupid to pretend you didn't play the game, and you should have just put 13-1 on there. But hey, this is way worse than that. This is like Tennessee in 2016 when they were in the middle of their desert wandering, when they played Virginia Tech in week 2 at a racetrack. Virginia Tech was unranked. They beat Virginia Tech. At the end of the year, they didn't win shit. So they went back and gave themselves a ring for winning a football game at a racetrack in week 2 against an unranked team. It made no sense. This doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. Brent Key should distance himself, and somebody should have stepped in and stopped this. This is horrible.
yeah. Let me go through some super chats I missed real quick. I don't know if I read it. Is it Center Park? Right. Center Park baseball fans
Center
go
Park.
to watch football. $2 from Rambling On. Another one from him, $5, says, I talked to former Georgia Tech player Jordan Williams, who got signed to the Falcons when undrafted, unsigned free agent to the Falcons, and laughed and said it's not Key, it's all Dunderbot. Now, I've said this in a video. What I think happened is Georgia Tech has a bunch of nerds that don't know anything about football, that run their Twitter account, saw these come in, put them out, and then Key, gets blindsided like, what are we doing? And I think the best thing you can do is probably not comment on it, but it is dumb. I do agree. All right, let's go to our last question of the night. Lou in the lead here. Before we go to the last question, I took a poll before the show started. Let me scroll up here and see the results of that poll. I asked who wins tonight. It was a dead tie between Uncle Lou and Carolina Jackpot at 40%, Knumbskull at 12%, State of Atlanta at 6%. We'll see how it plays out. We've been pretty stingy with points thus far. Maybe we'll get more generous as we go out. I thought this was an interesting question. I had this on previous weeks. I didn't answer it. Let's go out with this. Which coach is most likely to end up in scandal at the end of 2025?
Ooh.
Some type of scandal. However you want to define that. I'll give you a few minutes to think as it is the last question, and I'll go through some of our chats. Georgia Tech will get another ring for almost beating Georgia. Yeah, I'm so tired of. You haven't heard me talk about that. I'll tell you that. I don't ever want to think about that again. Joel with the $10 super chat says it could be very well possible taking the rings had NIL strings attached, but regardless is an L move and Tech should have had better standards. I'm sure that one of the stipulations wasn't to put it on your Twitter, though. If it was, probably you can keep the money. Is this a trick question? Someone has an answer here. Let's go to Jackpot. Which coach is most likely to end up in some kind of scandal? Because it seems like at the end of every year, some coach is involved with something, right? Particularly in the Big Ten these days. Which coach is most likely to end in scandal at the end of this coming up season?
Oh, what? I just have to pick one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me a multiple choice deal.
I mean, if I help you out, I can't give you as many points. I mean,
one. If you want to think about it, I got one.
You want to think, Jackpot? We'll circle back to you.
Yeah, circle back to me.
Numbskull's got one.
I got blindsided a little bit.
Who do you got?
Lane Kiffin.
Ooh.
The punk. Lane Kiffin is going to get. He's all worked up. He's going to do whatever he can. He's going to pull whatever strings. He might even get charged with trafficking. I'm just saying. Lane Kiffin, it's written on his face. He's a punk.
So because he looks a certain way, he's involved in
He looks
trafficking.
a certain way. He sounds a certain way. Screw Lane Kiffin. I hate him. I hate him on the behalf of Raider Nation, too.
If I'm ever accused of a crime, I pray to God you're not on the jury. Let's go to David.
Just don't look like Lane Kiffin.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
I got you, David. David.
I'm just happy to know that it looks like Numbskull will be cheering for Georgia State in that Week 1 game at Ole Miss now.
Yeah.
So
yes.
All right. No, I think the obvious answer here. I mean, I'm gonna take the low hanging fruit. It's got to be Bill Belichick, right?
Ooh,
I mean,
yeah.
and if it's not Bill Belichick, then it's gonna be his fiance, manager, whatever the hell she is. She's gonna be found with some pictures, and the offensive coordinator. It's actually, that isn't that his son? I don't know. There'll be a coach or a towel boy or some crap like that she's gonna be found with or anything. I think Bill Belichick's probably the obvious answer. I mean, maybe scandals before the season even starts. Does that exclude him?
No, it definitely includes him. Are you saying Bill Belichick's girlfriend? This is what it sounds like you're saying. Is going to involved in like a sex scandal between Bill and his son?
No, I was saying, like, it could be the offensive coordinator, but isn't Belichick's son the OC
DC?
or DC or
He's the
something like that?
DC.
Yeah,
He came from Washington.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, she's going to hook up with one of the other assistant coaches, and then I realized that may be actually, that maybe, I'm saying there will be a three-way between Belichick Jr. and whatever the hell her name is.
Jordan, the Devils three-way.
Jordan. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
MMF. All right, let's go back to Jackpot. Does that give you any fodder for thought?
I don't know why, but I think that Eli Drinkowitz may be the victim of some type of scandal this year. Maybe not necessarily. Well, it wouldn't be a pay-for-play scandal because we can do that now legally. But I don't know. He just comes off to me as just really weird, and like he's hiding something. I just don't know what. And I think that this year, someone discovers, maybe not totally, but somewhat what that thing is that he's hiding.
I love you and Numbskull's answer.
Does that make any sense to you?
It does. He's guilty, Your Honor. Why? Because he looks like a doofus.
Nobody's been talking about him for the past year or so because, he had that really good year in 2023, and he was kind of disappointing last year. He had the whole standing on business routine and all that, and that kind of went away. He got curb stomped a couple of times this past year and had to eat crow, and everybody forgot about him. But no, he's still strange. He's been able to suppress it, and something's going to come out, man.
But maybe no one's talking about him because he's not doing anything wrong. But
that you know of. That you know. You said give a prediction.
No, you're
Lane
right.
Kiffin
I mean,
looks like he's up to something. He's doing cocaine. He's doing it off the belly of a cheerleader or the cheerleader's daughter, one or the other.
I tell you what, Drinkowitz is involved in a scandal before the end of the season, I will give you $100, Jackpot. That will be the prediction of all time. Let's go to Lou. Who's going to end up in scandal?
All right, a couple of points before I get to my answer. Obviously, man is right with the Bill Belichick thing. I mean, I think we all can kind of see that coming from a mile away. I'm not going to go with that or Sharon Moore because I've discussed that on a previous episode of this show. I don't think Bill Belichick or Sharon Moore, either one, are coaching a single game at their current school in 2026. So I think they'll both be gone. But Joel is all over the nail's head here.
David?
Other than Urban Meyer, it's hard to think of a coach who's been fired for scandal that was successful. Isn't that weird? How that works? You're bad, and that's when they come for you. So the answer is Hugh Freeze at Auburn. So what do we know about Hugh Freeze? Well, he's basically a pedophile and a trafficker, which has already been mentioned. He was bringing in high school age recruits to Ole Miss and then shuffling them around to paid prostitutes. I don't know why I said paid prostitutes. I don't think there's any other kind.
Is there free ones? Yeah.
With the whole Bible thing and the hidden cell phones and all that. I know he went to Liberty and got fake rehabilitated. But here's the thing with Auburn. They tried to run Harsin out of town with this same story, and they just made it up. Like, none of it was even real. They didn't care. They wanted him gone, so they made up all this stuff about Brian Harsin hitting on some low-level staffer in the athletic department or whatever it was.
That he brought with him.
Yeah, it was just completely made up because they didn't want him there anymore. And if you know anything at all about like the behind the scenes politics of Auburn, and I know all boosters can be a little, sketchy to deal with or whatever. The boosters at Auburn are notorious. Like they are impossible to deal with. And once they make their mind up on something, there's nothing that will stop them or get in their way, period. And so we all know Hugh Freeze is in a win or leave situation this year. And I don't think it's going to work out. I think they're more talented. I think firing Hugh Freeze would be great for Auburn because he has upped the talent level there. He's just missed that quarterback too many times. And I think he's missed again with Jackson Arnold, and he's out of chances now. Another coach can come in, and it's not a bottomed out roster right now. Now you run the risk of transfer, but everybody runs that risk. So I think maybe Hugh Freeze, they invent something on him, or they might not have to invent something. They might actually do something because the thing is, then you don't have to pay the buyout, right? So he mentions Napier in the super chat. I don't think Napier's buyout is prohibitive at this point. I think if Florida wins 5 or 6 games, they're just going to pay him off to leave. Norvell would be another possibility that you can make up a scandal on because you can't afford the $100 million or $80 million buyout on Norvell. So Norvell or Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, let me read the super chat real quick from Joel. Okay, that's who you're talking about, Joel, because you pointed at David. Underrated pick, Napier scandal to get him out. I tend to agree with Lou. That scared the shit out of me.
Me too.
We both were puckered up. This is a tough one. I've got the scores covered up because both Lou and David's answers are fantastic. David's was very succinct and plausible because I know Bill Belichick's family are not fans of what is going on with this girl, and that might be the best way to break them up. Just have sex with her. I mean, that's a fantastic solution.
Yeah, but the coach himself, he ain't going to get involved in no scandal. Now, maybe the hoe will, but
Bill Belichick, well, I mean, I guess it depends on what
you don't get involved in nothing.
He's got her CC'd on emails. I mean, that can be used to fire you for cause for sure.
Isn't she his manager now? She's his manager now, right?
She's a CEO of his company. But then Lou brings up Hugh Freeze, and he mentioned him going to Liberty, which, if you don't know, is this extraordinarily religious school. Jerry Falwell, I think, founded it. Who go do research on him? Don't listen to me. Was accused of sexual misgivings there. The girl who accused him, he direct messaged her. Which, if you don't know anything about the law or how to handle situations, the one thing you don't do, like making rings, is directly contact an accuser. You go get a lawyer and you listen to them. So this is tough, but I'm gonna have let me get it. Let me get it lined up. Hold on. The drum roll. Either way, it won't line up. But I'm going to give it to Lou here. He's two-peated on us. I think that I think Hugh Freeze is not going to survive this year, and I actually do, as crazy as Belichick is, think he's the most likely to end up in some sort of scandal. You could say Belichick's girlfriend is going to be the one that ends up in scandal. So I appreciate everyone for coming out. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats, because only a jackass type host would miss your super chat when you spend your hard-earned money on a show like this. I don't think I did, though. We will go around the panel here, starting with Knumbskull. Tell people where they can find you, what you have coming up, what you're working on, what your Twitter is, etc.
YouTube, Twitter, Numbskull News, real simple. And what I got coming up, got the rise of the Big 12's the next video coming out. So
the rise of the what is your content centered around, just for people who don't know you?
Mostly Big 12 stuff, and do a lot of realignment stuff.
Lou's favorite.
And some of the other usual fare. Anything I find funny, essentially. Which, Belichick, that was some funny shit. I had to throw down on that.
Yeah, you're like me. If I think it's funny, I'll make a video about it. Yeah, go. Everyone's information is in the description of this video. You can go find their channels there. Let's go to David. What do you got coming up? Where can people find you? What are you doing?
We are at State of Atlanta everywhere except for Instagram for some reason. State of ATL there, and we're talking every week about Georgia State. Not that a lot of people care, but we have fun doing it. We are putting out a TikTok series during this off season. We're using AI to roast our fellow Sunbelt team, so check that out. It's a lot of fun at State of Atlanta on TikTok. It's a lot of BS, but it's a lot of fun, and it's really easy to roast but Sunbelt teams because this conference fucking sucks.
Well, I've got to take away one point post mortem here, just because the AI, that's how Skynet and Terminator happened. You got to know better than that.
Hey man, when I was in college, our little apartment and our little keypad to get through the gate, whatever, we actually had, instead of our names, we had them set up as Skynet. That's what we wanted to.
So you're aware, and you still.
Yeah.
Real quick,
I embrace our computer overlord. Hey, as a tech guy, you should love the computer overlords. I'm here for it, man.
Well, I mean, that's a slave master type relationship with the technology. But T Branch with the $5 says, great show. Thanks. It is a great show. And it's only a great show because of you guys watching and the guys that come on this panel. Jackpot, what do you got coming up? Where can people find you? What are you doing?
Carolina Jackpot on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, no Instagram. I don't even know how that works.
You're on TikTok?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That surprised me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Another channel over there, alternate Rockabilly 864. We do food reviews there. Do food reviews on TikTok too.
Did you review the green beans that Lou asked you to review?
No, I made them.
Oh, okay.
Well, I made them and ate them, reviewed them, and all that. Yeah.
Okay, good. I just don't want there to be any bad blood.
Channel. I did that on this channel a couple of Sundays ago. But yeah, videos, just I don't know, man, dropping sporadically on the Carolina Jackpot channel. It's time to start previewing some of these teams. We're starting to get our publications, our magazines and stuff in now, so we can kind of read up on the teams. I know they said Athlon put one out because everybody's taking these Athlon quotes about these coaches from last week. I haven't been able to find this damn magazine anywhere. I'm not sure that it exists.
Athlonsports.com.
So they're getting it, or it could be, it's an online type deal. But my thing is, I buy those other two magazines every year, the ones that come out early. But then the Phil Steele comes in the 1st of July. And that's the only one I really roll with. So it's kind of like, when I go out for like pizza at a nice Italian restaurant, as soon as I get the pizza on the table, I put down the Totinos that I'm eating.
Totinos.
And I immediately go after that one. That's how I am with the Phil Steele, because it dives much more in depth, and it breaks it down, and it gives you metrics, but it gives it to you in a way that you can understand it. So that's why I enjoy that one. But anyway, I use those to make a lot of the prediction videos that I do. And every year I try to crank out about 5 or 6 of them. Last year I think I put out about 4 or 5. But I of course I do my Gamecocks, I do Clemson, and then some of the other teams that are in our conferences that are local and or rivals and of interest. People will request things from me, and I'll try to get those done. But one year I put out about 10 of them, 10 or 15 of them, and that was a lot. But I don't have the time to devote to them like I wish I could. But
we'll be
anyway,
looking out for those. Jackpot doing cranking them out, the prediction videos. Lou, two Pete's on the channel here on the brink of Georgia Tech and embarrassment. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can find me on season 2 of Last Chance U, episode 5.
Okay.
As far as two-peating, it's an amazing accomplishment. It's right up there with winning the Slob Olympics a couple of years ago. And just like football, when it comes to this show, experience matters. And I never turned down an invitation. I've been on here 3 times. I think I'm the most experienced participant on this show besides the host. And obviously, that experience benefited me today with a massive win over these 3 dummies here.
Whoa!
He obviously turns down nothing but the covers.
The 6% guy came in second place. All right, I wouldn't say that's a massive
Oh,
win.
you
All right,
overachieved. Yeah, that's like Georgia Tech going 7-6 last year. It was a huge deal. Apparently, a much bigger deal than we thought.
I got my ring.
Like Jackpot, I got my prediction videos coming up soon too. I'll start them in a couple of weeks on the channel. But I always have a good time on here. Great panel today, and can't wait to do it again.
Ton of fun. Let's see who came in third. Let me do some quick math here. I believe Jackpot. I'll have to mail you a ring for coming in third today to commemorate your third place finish. And
okay, well, if you don't, I'm just going to sue somebody.
Yeah. Sue, I'll give you the company name that for this channel that I don't make public. You can sue it. Joel S. with the $5 says, spread for UGA Georgia Tech at Benz is an unholy high number. They've put a spread out for a November game. UGA puts teams absolutely out in that place. Great show, guys. Georgia Tech, UGA baseball, both rocking. Georgia Tech and UGA could face each other in the baseball playoffs, so that could be interesting. They don't. When is the longest they will put a spread out, Lou? Surely that and put a spread out.
Like you could probably find a Michigan-Ohio State spread already too. Yeah, it's usually the bigger games, rivalry games. They'll put them out. Now the thing is, when they put these lines out in the off season, they limit your action. So
like $1,000 or something.
Well, different books will have different limits, but they're not looking to take big money bets here this early. So, but it's mainly just something to talk about. I don't bet a lot of these things. There's so much can happen between now and then. I mean, I don't know who gets hurt or.
Hey, real quick. Yeah, I've got YouTube pulled up on the TV right now, and it's recommending things to me. You ever seen that Savannah Bananas deal?
Oh yeah,
that came to Clemson a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
they've got a live stream up right now. They're playing a team called the Firefighters in Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. It's one of those bootleg streams, I guess. This thing's got 14,000 people watching right now.
That's their official channel. Savannah Bananas stream all of their games on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's 14,000 people that are never going to have sex.
Well, I don't know. Look, if you haven't seen a documentary on how this whole Savannah Banana thing came about, it's actually pretty genius, and they're more popular than the most popular Major League Baseball team by far, and they probably draw more money than MLB teams, a lot of MLB teams. So,
I mean, they put 80,000 asses in the seats at Clemson.
Because baseball is boring and they made it fun. Yeah. That's what it is. So look, we're running
Knumbskull. Hey, Knumbskull, I watched one of the Savannah Banana games on YouTube with my daughter, and I hope you're right. I hope she never has sex. So
there you
I'm
go.
gonna watch it right now anyway. So I guess I'm going to celibate.
Well, let's all go watch it. We're running long, guys. Thank you so much for coming out.
Break it off.
Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you so much to the panelists. Congratulations to Lou. And we will see you guys next time. Y'all have a great night.